I was taking Hunter, my son, to his hockey game, and one of my members rang me up and he said, Ronnie, I'm in a heap of trouble. They've just stood me down. And I said, well, just hold on. My son's in the back of the car. And I'll always tell people if there's anyone in the car, particularly if it's my kids, because I was like, don't be swearing. And I said, my son's in the car. I'm about 15 minutes away from dropping him off. I'll give you a call back. And he said, no, I need to talk to you now. So he talked through what was going on. And I said, okay, we'll work through it. And he said before he hung up, and he said, Ronnie, he said, I've got my wife, I've got my 3 kids, and I've got grandkids, and I'm the only one that's earning an income. I cannot afford to lose my job. And I said, that's okay, we'll get it sorted. Hung up from him, dropped my son off and whatever. About 3 months later, we were driving. I was taking him to hockey, and Hunter said to me, he would have been about 7, and he said to me, Dad, how's Macca? And I said, who's Macca? And he said, you know the guy that rang you up and he had a dodgy boss and his boss was going to sack him and he didn't do anything wrong, but he had his wife and his kids and his grandkids and he was the only one that was earning money. And I said, oh, yeah. I didn't even think he would have remembered it. Yeah. And I said, yeah, mate. And he said, how is he? And I said, oh, he's okay. And he said, so did he keep his job? And I said, yeah, I went up on the Monday and we worked it all out. And he just stopped and I'm looking at him in the mirror and he said to me, Dad, you know all the nights that you don't get home or when you can't come to my hockey games or when you can't pick me up from school? He said, is that the kind of thing that you're doing? And I said, well, that's kind of what I do. And he said, I'm okay with you missing my soccer games, Dad. Wow. And that just made it all. Yeah. So